Pronounced, defined, used in lexical dispatch.
Pallid. Adjective. Pallidly. Pallidness. Pale in an unpleasant or unnatural way. 1. Lacking liveliness. Dull. Batten. Noun and verb. A long piece of wood often attached to something to make that thing stronger. To fasten or strengthen with battens. To grow fat. To thrive at another's expense. He grew into a pallid, gangly thing, skinny like most of the refugees. In the accumulation of grayness, the sun looked like a pallid, feeble spot, lacking even the strength to cast shadows over the sidewalk. His face a checkerboard of distress, at once pallid and overripe, his eyes like dry wells sunk deep in his cheeks. When you handed a woman a tube of lipstick, her pinched and pallid face lit up all over. His breath came in shallow pants, and his clammy, pallid skin sweated a cold, feverless sweat. This booming industry caters to a culture that prizes a pallid complexion as a traditional sign of feminine beauty, unscathed by the indignities of manual labor. No degree of skill in the kitchen can wholly compensate for a pallid supermarket chicken stripped of its flavor by modern farming processing and marketing methods. The policeman's brow furrowed as he caught a glare of almost pure hatred playing over the boy's pallid features. There was the authentic version of everything that had been pallidly alluded to on my own family's dinner table. His face pale even more, his pallidness in violent contrast with his raven hair. Where possible, the original wood was reinforced and saved, but the sills and many of the ends of the siding and batten boards had to be replaced. Make sure your nails and screws are just long enough to go through board and batten without projecting. This is a time where big North American producers need to batten down the hatches and let supply and demand come back into balance. Unless restrained by the tightest discipline, they tend to become local warlords and criminal gangs and batten on the population. He required total septal reconstruction with alar batten grafts 7 months after the abscess was drained. When all 3 longerons and 3 batten tubes are strung together, thread the string back through the first longeron corner fitting to loosely pull the whole thing into a triangle. Set temporary screws as needed to describe the curved edges of the bottom panel. Use the fairing batten to mark even curves describing both sides of the hull bottom. I think most people kind of tend to batten down the hatches and close their minds to a degree. Everything around us is foddered by corruption, battened by corruption, and into corruption returns at last. Of course, that rugged independence doesn't keep Cato from battening on federal tax exemptions in any number of ways.